in a period of about 96 hours, Trump called for the execution of the whistleblower and the administration officials that corroborated their account, referred to 6 members of Congress as savages. The 6 members Trump chose were 2 Jews and 4 women of color, which wasn't a coincidence, suggested a second civil war would be an appropriate response to impeachment, posted 18 tweets in 5 minutes attacking the weekend anchor of Fox and Friends for having the audacity to ask a barely tough question of one of Trump's defenders, said that the Democratic chair of the Intelligence Committee should be arrested for treason, which happens to be a crime punishable by death, and reportedly committed another crime by agreeing to back off legislation to mandate background checks for gun sales in exchange for the National Rifle Association contributing to his legal and political defense. In the early days of the impeachment inquiry, public opinion moved decidedly in the Democrats' direction. Majorities backed the inquiry, and even some Republican voters were troubled by Trump's actions. There was a drumbeat of credible first-hand witnesses. Before long, there could be no doubt about what happened. The call, and the extensive effort to cover it up, were a crime higher than any of the crimes committed during Watergate. Yet, Donald Trump is still president. In the end, none of it mattered very much. A few Republicans expressed private concerns, some even sent a few sad tweets, but no one actually did anything. Large swaths of voters believed he had committed a crime, but few expected him to face any accountability. As a nation, we were uncomfortably numb to crimes being committed in the Oval Office. The whole thing was deeply depressing, but it was also final confirmation of something that had been eating at me for years. The American political system is fundamentally broken, a fact the Republican Party has ruthlessly exploited to rig politics in their favor. This notion was not a new one to me. The fact that the Republican Party was out of control has been obvious for a long time. They were radical, rabid, and often racist the entire time I worked for Barack Obama. Their approach to government was nihilist on the best day. They were people who just wanted to see the world burn. At the time, I thought this was a temporary affliction on the body politic, one that would be cured by the passage of time in the 2016 election. I cockily assumed that Hillary Clinton would defeat Trump in resounding fashion. The Republicans would learn the error of their ways and take a couple of steps back from the brink. My confidence that Clinton would win emanated from an unyielding and mistaken belief in the health of our democracy. Instead, Trump rode into office on the back of our broken democracy. He won with fewer votes and benefited from a raft of laws passed by Republicans to make it harder for people to vote. The future of American democracy now depends on a Democratic Party that is eyes wide open about who the Republican Party is, what they have wrought, and what it takes to undo the damage. Democrats have spent much of the Trump era engaging in an internal debate about the future of the party. This is to be expected and healthy. We have entered the post-Obama era of the party, and we need to figure out what comes next. However, this divide is usually framed on ideological terms, moderates versus progressives. Should the party embrace the bold, progressive policies advocated by Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, or more centrist solutions? There is often confusion in our political discourse between ideology and policy. In my experience, most voters have policy preferences, but rarely view politics through the lens of one specific ideology. A candidate's ability to tell a story about why his or her policies are the right ones is exponentially more consequential than whether those policies are left, right, or center. The focus on ideology masks the larger issue. The biggest divide in the Democratic Party is not between left and center. It's between those who believe once Trump is gone, things will go back to normal, and those who believe that our democracy is under a threat that goes beyond Trump. Everything flows from this debate. If you believe the former, simply surviving the moment is enough. If you believe the latter, as I do, then you have to be willing to contemplate ideas that were off the table even a few years ago. I have come to the conclusion that there is nothing more important than beating Trump, but beating Trump is not nearly enough. The Democratic Party needs an aggressive strategy to fundamentally reshape American democracy. We have to come to terms with who the Republican Party is and what they have done. We have to recognize that Donald Trump is not an aberration or accident. We have to come to terms with the idea that there will be no Republican epiphany during or after Trump. The media won't save us. Bob Mueller didn't save us. And Trump's propensity for committing impeachable offenses won't save us. It took me a long time to come to this conclusion and to embrace the solutions in this book. I am an institutionalist by nature.